Welcome the spicy lady. Some people operate on a frequency the world cannot fully hear. Spicy ladies live in ways that often leave others puzzled. Their thoughts, instincts, and actions follow an internal rhythm that does not always match what science expects. They can feel deeply, think strategically, and act decisively while appearing calm and measured. This combination of depth and subtlety makes them hard to define, yet impossible to overlook once you pay attention. What makes them so fascinating is that much of what they do cannot be explained by psychology or social patterns alone. They endure emotional pain without labeling it, sometimes disappearing internally without warning, yet continue to navigate life with clarity. They notice problems nobody else mentions and quietly fix them. They forgive, but never forget patterns, allowing their experiences to guide future decisions with precision. Their loyalty, intuition, and sense of responsibility often extend beyond logic, sometimes toward people who never asked for it. Even in moments of collapse, they have a remarkable ability to rebuild themselves stronger, more composed, and sharper than before. Their emotional world is complex and deeply private, yet it shapes the choices they make, the way they interact, and the energy they carry. I end this video. We will explore 10 things spicy ladies do that science struggles to explain. These behaviors are fascinating, mysterious, and powerful. Understanding them requires attention, reflection, and an appreciation for the quiet intelligence, resilience, and unique perspective that guides their lives in ways few can fully comprehend. Let's get started. Point 1. They experience sudden bursts of extreme determination without warning. A spicy lady can shift from passive to unstoppable focus. There are moments when a spicy lady looks completely relaxed, almost as if nothing serious is happening in her mind. And then suddenly everything changes. Point 1 day she is quiet, taking her time, moving normally, speaking little, and giving no sign that anything major is forming inside her. Then, almost overnight, something wakes up in her. It is like an inner decision has been made. And once that happens, her energy becomes difficult to interrupt. What surprises people is that this shift often comes without announcement. She does not gather people to explain her plans. She does not post loud declarations or ask for validation. She simply begins to outsiders. It looks sudden, but in her mind, the decision was building long before anyone noticed. What makes this powerful is that she does not waste energy explaining every step. While others talk about what they want to do, she often moves in silence until results begin to appear. She can become deeply committed in ways that surprise even people close to her. Sleep becomes less important than progress. Comfort becomes secondary to purpose. Even distractions that once mattered begin to lose power. This is why many people misunderstand her quiet seasons. They think nothing is happening, when in truth, she may be preparing for one of the strongest phases of her life. When that internal switch turns on, she becomes the kind of person who does not stop until the goal in her mind becomes real. Point 2. They quietly prepare for worst-case scenarios. Many spicy ladies mentally rehearse disaster situations constantly. A spicy lady often has a quiet habit that many people around her never notice. Even when life looks calm, part of her mind is already asking one private question. What if everything changes tomorrow? She may be smiling, working, or having a normal conversation, but somewhere inside, she is already thinking several steps ahead. Not because she wants trouble, but because she feels safer when she knows she can survive it. This is why she often prepares for situations nobody else is thinking about. She may save money when others are spending freely because she has already imagined a month when income becomes uncertain. She may learn skills nobody asked her to learn because she knows life can suddenly demand something new. She may keep emotional distance even in good moments because she understands how quickly people can change. To some people, this looks overly serious. They may wonder why she thinks so far ahead when nothing bad is happening. But for her, preparation creates peace. She does not like depending completely on luck, promises, or perfect conditions. For example, while others assume a job will always remain stable, she may quietly update her knowledge, build side opportunities, or keep important documents organized. If something unexpected happens, she is not starting from fear because she has already prepared her mind for movement. The same happens emotionally. If someone close to her begins acting differently, she notices early. She may not react immediately, but internally she starts preparing herself for possible disappointment. This does not mean she expects betrayal from everyone. It simply means she has learned that emotional strength grows when reality does not catch you completely unprepared. What makes this unusual is that she rarely talks about it. Her preparation happens silently. People only notice after a difficult moment arrives, and she remains calmer than expected. A sudden change that throws others into panic may meet someone who already considered that possibility long ago. She already asked herself what she would do, where she would go, what she would protect, and what she could let go. This silent mental training becomes one of her greatest strengths. While others hope nothing goes wrong, she quietly builds the kind of inner readiness that allows her to stand firm even when life becomes uncertain. 3. They can carry secrets without visible pressure. A spicy lady might hold painful truths for years without revealing them. One of the most difficult things to understand about a spicy lady is how much she can carry without showing it. There are times when she knows something painful, remembers something heavy, or holds a truth that would change how people see a situation, yet nothing on her face gives it away. She can sit in a room, speak normally, smile at the right moments, and continue her day while carrying thoughts that would make other people restless. This does not mean she feels nothing. In many cases, she feels deeply. The difference is that she has learned not every truth needs immediate expression. She understands that speaking too early, speaking to the wrong person, or speaking in the wrong moment can create more damage than silence. Sometimes the secret is personal pain. It may be a disappointment she never explained, a betrayal she discovered, or a struggle she chose to fight privately. Instead of making her pain public, she studies it, lives with it, and slowly decides what it means before anyone else hears about it. For example, a spicy lady may discover that someone she trusted has changed. She notices the signs, understands the reality, but says nothing at first. People around her still see her acting normally, unaware that inside she is already adjusting her expectations and preparing herself emotionally, that by the time others notice tension, she may already be far ahead in her thinking. What surprises people is how natural she can look while carrying something heavy. She may still go to work, answer messages, laugh when necessary, and keep responsibilities moving. That calmness often makes others assume nothing serious is happening. But silence does not mean absence of weight. It often means she is choosing control over reaction. She does not like giving raw emotions to people who may not understand them or use them carefully. There is also wisdom behind this habit. She knows that not every listener is safe and not every truth deserves immediate audience. When she finally decides to speak, it is usually because she has already thought through the situation deeply. Her words come clear, measured, and often stronger because they are not driven by panic. That is why many people underestimate her emotional strength. They see calm behavior, but they do not realize how much inner discipline it takes to carry certain truths and still move through life with steady dignity. Point 4. They sometimes protect people who dislike them. A spicy lady may defend someone who openly criticizes her. Instinct overrides pride in strange ways. One of the most surprising things about a spicy lady is that she can protect someone who has never been kind to her. At first, this seems strange because many people assume that once someone shows dislike, distance should be automatic. But a spicy lady does not always act from wounded pride. Sometimes she responds to what is right, even when emotions would suggest doing nothing. She understands something many people learn late in life. A person can dislike you and still deserve fairness in a certain moment. If she sees someone being treated wrongly, embarrassed publicly, or pushed into harm, her first instinct may be to step in before her ego has time to argue. For example, imagine a woman at work who often speaks coldly to her, questions her ideas, or quietly competes with her. Then one day that same person is blamed for something she clearly did not do. Many people would stay silent and think it is not their problem. A spicy lady may calmly speak up and correct the situation, even if the person has never defended her before. Not because friendship suddenly appeared, but because truth matters more to her than revenge. This does not mean she forgets how people behave. She remembers very clearly. She simply separates justice from personal feelings in certain moments. That inner discipline often confuses people. Some may think she is pretending, while others wonder why she helped someone who never liked her. The answer is often simple. She does not want her character to be shaped by another person's bitterness. There is also something deeper behind this. A spicy lady often sees weakness, fear, and insecurity beneath people's harsh behavior. She knows some criticism comes from personal struggle rather than real hatred. That understanding can make her less reactive than expected. Still, her kindness is never blind. Protecting someone once does not mean she suddenly opens full trust. She can help and still keep boundaries. What makes this powerful is that she often does it quietly. No speech, no need for recognition, just a calm action in the right moment. In a world where many people wait for chances to return hurt, she sometimes chooses a different path. Not because pride disappeared, but because inner strength gave her another option. That is why her actions often leave people thinking long after the moment has passed. 5. They feel responsible for people who never asked for protection. Some spicy ladies instinctively feel accountable for the safety or well-being of strangers. A spicy lady often carries a quiet sense of responsibility that appears in moments nobody expects. She can be walking through her day, minding her own business, and suddenly notice someone nearby who looks vulnerable. It may be a child standing alone, an elderly person struggling with direction, or someone looking confused in an unfamiliar place. Even if nobody speaks to her, something inside her immediately becomes alert. What is interesting is that this reaction usually happens before she has time to explain it to herself. It is almost instinctive. While others may notice the same scene and continue walking, her attention stays there. Part of her mind begins asking simple questions. Is that person safe? Do they need help? Is something wrong here? For example, she may be in a busy place and notice a child looking around without a parent nearby. Even if it is not her responsibility, she cannot ignore it easily. She may stay close, observe quietly, or make sure the child reconnects with the right adult before leaving. No one asked her to do it, but leaving without knowing the situation is fine may not sit well with her. The same can happen with strangers. A traveler who looks lost, someone being spoken to harshly in public, or a person clearly uncomfortable in an environment can trigger that same protective awareness. This does not always come from softness. In many cases, it comes from strong observation. A spicy lady notices details others miss. She sees hesitation in body language, hears discomfort in tone, and senses when something feels wrong before words explain it. What makes this unique is that she often helps without creating a tension around herself. She may quietly give directions, remain nearby until a situation settles, or step in calmly if something feels unsafe. People sometimes assume protectiveness belongs only to those who are openly social or expressive, but that is not always true. Some of the most protective people are quiet observers. There is wisdom behind this instinct. She understands that many difficult moments begin when everyone assumes someone else will help. So even when no one asks, she may still act because her conscience refuses to ignore what her eyes clearly see. To many people, it looks unusual, but to her, it feels natural. If she can prevent harm, even in a small way, silence becomes harder than action. Point 6. They often process emotions through action instead of talking about feelings. Many spicy ladies fix things, organize things, build things, or physically move. For many spicy ladies, emotions do not always come out first as words. When something deep is happening inside, they often do not sit down immediately to explain how they feel. Instead, they begin to move. They clean a room, rearrange a space, finish tasks that were waiting, reply to delayed work, or suddenly focus on something practical with unusual intensity. What looks ordinary from the outside is often emotional processing happening in real time. This is because action gives them structure when feelings feel difficult to organize. Talking may feel too early when the emotion is still unclear even to them, but doing something useful creates order, and that order helps their thoughts settle. For example, after a painful conversation, one spicy lady may not call anyone to discuss it. Instead, she may begin sorting files, washing clothes, changing the arrangement of her room, or writing plans she had ignored for weeks. To someone watching, it may seem unrelated, but inside, she is slowly translating emotional pressure into movement. Another example is disappointment. If something important fails, she may not immediately complain or seek comfort. She may open her laptop, study what went wrong, make a new list, or start building another option. It is not that the feeling is absent. It is that action becomes the safest way to hold it. Sometimes, even joy appears this way. Instead of dramatic celebration, she may suddenly begin creating something, helping someone, or improving an area of her life because positive emotion also pushes her toward meaningful movement. What makes this unique is that many people misunderstand it. They may think she is avoiding feelings because she is busy. In reality, the activity may be the very way she is understanding those feelings. There is wisdom in this habit because action prevents emotions from becoming chaos. It gives pain a direction and gives uncertainty a shape. Still, this does not mean she never feels deeply. Often, she feels more than people realize, but she trusts movement more than immediate explanation. A simple walk, a long drive, reorganizing a shelf, writing a plan, or fixing something broken can become a private conversation between her mind and her emotions. That is why some of her strongest emotional moments may happen quietly, with her hands busy, while nobody around her realizes that something important is being processed inside. 7. Loyalty can override logic. Spicy ladies sometimes stay loyal to people who clearly do not deserve it. One of the most complex things about a spicy lady is that even with all her sharp judgment, loyalty can sometimes hold more power than logic. She may clearly see the flaws in a person, understand the warning signs, and even know that staying emotionally connected no longer makes practical sense. Yet, part of her still struggles to let go. This is because for her, loyalty is rarely casual. Once she truly gives it, it becomes tied to memory, meaning, and the value she placed on the connection from the beginning. Many people assume that because a spicy lady is strong and independent, she easily cuts people off the moment they disappoint her. Sometimes that is true, but when the bond once meant something deep, leaving is not always immediate. Her mind may already know the truth, but her loyalty keeps asking one more question. What if this person changes? What if there is still something worth saving? For example, she may have a friend who no longer shows the same care, someone who only appears when they need help, disappears during important moments, and slowly becomes unreliable. She notices all of it. She is not blind, but because she remembers who that person once was, she may continue showing patience longer than others expect. The same can happen in family or personal relationships. Logic may say the effort is no longer balanced, but loyalty reminds her of history, sacrifice, shared moments, and promises that once felt real. What makes this difficult is that she usually suffers quietly while deciding. She does not rush to announce that someone has hurt her. She often studies the pattern again and again before accepting that the bond may no longer deserve protection. There is wisdom in this because loyalty is not weakness. It shows depth of character. But there is also danger when loyalty remains active long after truth has become obvious. A spicy lady often learns that loyalty should not mean permanent self-sacrifice at some point. Wisdom teaches her that protecting her peace is not betrayal. When she finally steps away, it is usually after many silent chances were given. People may think the decision came suddenly, but inside she has already wrestled with it for a long time. That is why her loyalty feels powerful. It is not easily offered, and once broken, it leaves lessons that shape how carefully she trusts again. Point 8. They solve problems that were never spoken. A spicy lady might notice a problem nobody mentioned and quietly fix it. No announcement, no credit. One of the most fascinating traits of a spicy lady is her uncanny ability to notice problems that no one else even talks about. In many cases, these issues are invisible to most people. Small inefficiencies at work, tension in a friendship, or an emotional gap that nobody has voiced. Yet, somehow she sees it. Without being asked, without anyone pointing it out, she quietly starts finding solutions. What is remarkable is that even she may not fully understand why she feels compelled to act. This behavior often comes from her heightened sense of awareness. She observes people, environments, and situations closely. She notices discomfort in someone's tone, a missing piece in a process, or a subtle imbalance in a group dynamic. For most, these things are invisible or ignored, but to her, they are signals that something needs attention. For example, imagine a coworker who constantly struggles with a specific task, but never asks for help. Others may see mistakes and shrug, thinking it's not their problem. A spicy lady might quietly create a simple system, share tips subtly, or reorganize a workflow so that the problem disappears. She does not make an announcement. She does not seek recognition. It is not about showing power. It is about restoring balance because she instinctively feels responsible in some way. The same can happen in personal life. She may notice a friend quietly struggling with an emotional burden, someone who does not openly complain. She will find small ways to ease the pressure, offer subtle guidance, or create an environment where the person feels safer, all without drawing attention to her actions. What makes this fascinating is that she cannot always explain why she took responsibility. Logic might say the problem is not hers. Society might expect her to ignore it. Yet internally, she feels a sense of obligation, a quiet insistence that something should be done. This is why spicy ladies are often the hidden anchors in relationships and workplaces. Their work may never be noticed publicly, but it shapes outcomes in ways that others cannot immediately see. They act silently, thinking less about reward and more about resolution. That is the essence of their power, the ability to fix what nobody else notices while remaining almost invisible. 9. They sometimes disappear emotionally without knowing why. Spicy ladies sometimes disappear emotionally without knowing why. A spicy lady can wake up feeling strangely distant from people she loves. Nothing happened. No argument. Yet, something inside her quietly pulls away. Even she cannot explain the shift point. One of the most puzzling aspects of a spicy lady is her ability to emotionally disappear, even from people she cares deeply about. One morning, she may wake up and feel a strange distance from those around her. There was no fight, no harsh word, no obvious reason. Yet internally, something has shifted. It is as if a part of her quietly steps back, watching the world through a lens that others cannot see. This is not a sign of weakness or lack of care. In fact, it often reflects an internal processing system that she cannot fully explain even to herself. Spicy ladies experience emotions intensely, but they also need space to understand them. When that need arises, it can manifest as an emotional withdrawal, a period of quiet observation, or a moment where she simply stops responding in the way people expect. For example, she may wake up feeling distant from a friend or partner who she normally interacts with effortlessly. She might still smile, still speak when necessary, but the usual warmth may be muted. If someone asks what is wrong, she may not have an answer. Even she cannot articulate it because the feeling is internal, subtle, and not tied to any specific event. This emotional disappearance is often her subconscious way of recalibrating. She is processing something beneath the surface, a thought, a reflection, or a realization that requires silence rather than conversation. It is a reset, a moment where she collects her emotional energy and ensures that she will not react impulsively or drain herself unnecessarily. People who do not understand this may misinterpret it as coldness or rejection. But to a spicy lady, it is a form of self-preservation and clarity. She does not pull away to punish anyone. She pulls away to protect her own emotional balance. What makes it extraordinary is how temporary and unpredictable it can be. The withdrawal may last hours, days, or longer. And when it passes, she returns fully engaged, often with sharper insight and a calmer presence than before. This ability to disconnect quietly without drama or explanation shows an uncommon depth of self-awareness. It is a reminder that her mind and heart operate on levels that even she sometimes cannot fully map. Point 10. They endure emotional pain without labeling it. They endure emotional pain without labeling it. Many spicy ladies experience deep emotional pressure, but cannot clearly describe the feeling. One of the most remarkable qualities of a spicy lady is how she endures emotional pressure without needing to name it. Many people label their feelings, sadness, anger, fear, frustration. But for her, emotions often arrive in a form that is harder to define. It is not one clear emotion, but a quiet, persistent weight that sits inside, shaping her thoughts and actions without announcing itself. This internal pressure can be intense, but she rarely expresses it outwardly. She may go through a difficult situation, loss, disappointment, betrayal, or even confusion, and continue functioning as if everything is normal. To outsiders, she looks composed, collected, and in control. But inside, there is a steady undercurrent of feeling that cannot be easily spoken about or shared. For example, she may experience the end of a meaningful relationship or the fading of a friendship that once mattered deeply. She might not cry, scream, or seek advice. Instead, she carries it quietly, thinking through what happened, understanding her role, and adjusting her perspective, all while appearing calm to the world. This endurance is not numbness. It is not pretending that pain does not exist. It is a form of emotional mastery. By not labeling the feeling immediately, she allows herself to process it fully, to observe it without rushing to reaction or judgment. It becomes a subtle teacher, guiding her decisions and revealing insights she might miss if she reacted impulsively. Sometimes this weight can make her seem distant or private, even to those closest to her. People may wish she would open up, talk about what is bothering her, or let them in. But for her, the act of simply holding and understanding her emotions internally is enough. It allows her to emerge stronger, wiser, and more self-aware than before. What is extraordinary is that this capacity to endure undefined emotional pressure often gives her resilience that others lack. While people label and fight their feelings, she quietly integrates them into her life, turning invisible struggles into strength that shapes every choice she makes. Final words: some minds move in ways the world cannot measure. Spicy ladies live in a space that often confuses science, society, and even people closest to them. They operate quietly, yet powerfully, guided by instincts, internal codes, and awareness that few can fully understand. From disappearing emotionally without reason to carrying secrets silently, from forgiving while remembering patterns to protecting strangers they will never meet again, their actions defy simple explanation. What makes them remarkable is not just what they do, but how naturally it flows from who they are. They often feel alone even in crowded rooms because their inner world moves at a different rhythm. They process emotions through action, turning feelings into movement rather than words. They measure themselves against invisible standards, quietly competing with their own potential rather than the expectations of others. Even moments of emotional collapse become stepping stones, reshaping them into stronger, more composed versions of themselves. Science may attempt to explain human behavior with patterns, chemistry, or psychology, but spicy ladies remind us that some experiences exist beyond measurement. Their intuition, their sense of responsibility, and their internal logic often surpass traditional reasoning. In the end, spicy ladies teach a simple but profound lesson. Depth, independence, and resilience cannot always be explained or quantified. They live according to their own rules, quietly observing, silently acting, and enduring what most cannot. Understanding them requires more than facts or observation. It requires recognition that some people simply operate on a plane the world has yet to fully understand. They are proof that not everything valuable can be measured, and some of the strongest forces move quietly beneath the surface. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.